sparkly rainbow. Ooh, look at that. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's so nice. We're here for tea. It's a wonderful tea time. And, the Grand Arbiter has been abducted potentially by a ghost, maybe a poltergeist. We're not certain. But hopefully the Grand Arbiter will be released.
Hello. Villains.
Oh, thank goodness, Grand Arbiter. I thought that I had lost you forever into a closet. It was very concerning because we don't live in the closet anymore. But the tentacles smoke things that pulls you in.
Mine's always been a glass closet, so it was not particularly effective at hiding things. I certainly could not hide from a serial killer inside a closet.
No. Well, no.
Not my glass closet.
No.
Not like that.
And I editorialize too much from within the closet, so that's also a bit of a giveaway. Yeah.
You do definitely monologue a bit from the closet. It's
a real problem.
Yeah.
Grand Arbiter, I'm just not certain how you and I would survive in any sort of spooky scenario.
We'll just have to talk through it, I think is what will have to happen.
We will. Hello, Bill. Hello, my darling. Good evening, everyone. It is time for tea. 'Tis I, Madame Askew, and I'm here, of course, with my bestie, the Grand Arbiter. Hello, Grand Arbiter.
Hello. Madame Askew, I feel that we've been separated for too long. It is time to test our psychic powers once more.
Oh my. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah.
We're going to focus.
All right.
Start fresh.
Okay.
Clear your mind of all things and think of only one word.
Okay. All right. One word. Thinking hard of one word.
One word that connects us together.
Oh, one word that connects us together. Okay. All right.
Sorry. Minds, you bitch.
Okay. Sorry. So sorry. All right. Hello.
You're ruining my dramatic moment.
I'm so sorry. I have a word.
3, 2, 1, cat.
Bat. Oh. Ooh. Oh, that was pretty good.
Pretty close. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Want to do one more? I feel like we can get there.
From bat and cat to a shared. All right. Sounds good.
There's several ways we could go. So maybe we'll go wildly off base, but we'll have to figure it out.
Let's find out. All right. Okay.
3, 2, 1, mammal.
Familiar.
Oh. Mine was more scientific. Yours was more magical.
Vibes.
Okay. Well, we've got familiar animal. So let's see if we can do it one more time. We can do this. We're so close.
Familiar animal. All right. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Witchcraft.
Okay. We're moving in opposite directions. I have pet and you have witchcraft.
Yeah. This is, anyway, I'm not a very good psychic, but
we're both struggling. It's a shared goal.
Oh, all right.
And we're burning about 5 to 6 minutes so people can show up.
Oh. Well, I mean, okay, that's solid. And also, we're practicing our mental connection to improve our comic timing for tea time. Before we do another one, let me take a moment to say hello to everyone who is here, including Casper, who is watching tonight. Casper the cat. Hello, Casper. Hello, Lady June Squirrel. Hello, Ty, Tracy, Alicia. It's so wonderful to see you. And everyone who's watching tonight, please do say hello in the comments so we can say hello back to you. All right, Grand Arbiter, shall we do it one more round?
We're almost there. It should take us, the maximum it could take us is like 7. And we're doing this very quickly, so it's not a big deal. And we're 5 to 7 minutes that it takes for folks to show up. and we're doing something amusing in the meantime.
All right. This is a game called
Same Brain.
Same Brain. All right. Okay.
So you are at witchcraft. I am at pet. So we need to come back together. So the two thing concepts together. Magic and pet.
I feel like that's
witchcraft and pet.
That was a familiar. I moved from familiar to like broader.
Yeah, because I went from I wanted to do bat and cat are both mammals.
Yeah.
And you want to do bat and cats are both familiars.
Yes.
And then I did familiar animal.
Yes.
And so I said, well, that's a pet. And you said, well, your word is not part of this anymore. I'm going to go my own way. So we've got to remember, got to take the two words
I've got to come back to them
together.
Okay.
So we've got pet and witchcraft. And we can't repeat any words. So as useful as familiar would be here, it has been burned.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right.
I have to think too. So
okay.
Witchcraft pet. Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, you got a word?
Yeah, I got a word.
That's weird. I don't know if it's gonna get there.
Same. Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Toad.
Mascot.
Okay. A toad mascot. I think we're very close. We just have to think of a mascot that's also a toad. Okay. I don't know if this is enough, but I have one. I think it'll work.
God, all right. I am concerned.
Toad mascot. 3, 2, 1.
Kermit.
We got there.
We got there. He's not a toad. He's a
not. But I knew that you would think of Kermit because that is like the mascotty of mascots.
That's right. Okay. We went around and
I think it's the challenge of practicing the game is that you really have to merge both words.
Yeah.
And if you try to stay on your own word or focus too much on the other person's word, you'll cross each other and go too far.
I definitely went too far. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Ricky loves toads. I love that. And we've got the Hobbit here as well. And yeah, just don't try a mentalist routine without more practice. That's correct. We should not make this all the time. You know, we're not mentalists.
I mean, no, we're just practicing. This is an improv game. Yeah. This is a practice game. This is for when Madame Askew and the Grand Arbiter are doing improvisational fun times at a party. It's a party game. Also, it's fun to feel like we're really smart and connected at a mental, spiritual level. And with thousands of miles between us, it's important for us to connect. Do it again. We got to do the opposite direction that we think we have to do it. Because of the reflections.
We're in our own little glass mirror cages of our own devising, and occasionally it's a bit confounding. But we're here.
Now that we're all warmed up, Madame Askew, what's going on with you this week?
Oh my goodness, Grand Arbiter, this weekend is very busy for me. What's the tea? Well, Saturday morning, we are sipping the tea with my delightful special guests, Maz Maddox and Kurt Grave. I've written about it on Patreon. There's a Facebook event page. I'm so excited to have these two join us. Maz is a fantastic author, introduced to me by Lady June Squill. I love her wonderful dinosaur shifter romances, but I'm also a little bit obsessed with her Necromancer series that's in book 2 right now. And Kurt Grave is a fantastic audiobook narrator. He's narrated some of Madame Gale's books, for instance, and quite a few of T.J. Klune's books. He is just absolutely a delightful narrator. And these two host a podcast together called Hoof and Fang. And they interview a bunch of artists. And I'm delighted by their podcast. I'm delighted by their art. And I cannot wait to sit down with them tomorrow morning. It's 10 a.m. Pacific time, which means for those of you on the East Coast, that should be 1 p.m. in the afternoon, which is a little bit more reasonable than most of our events are for you, admittedly. So that's very exciting. And then in the afternoon at 12:30 p.m. here in Tucson, live and in person, I am joining Captain Azar at a local library, the Murphy Wilmot Library, and we're going to be discussing sort of the beginnings of steampunk and getting involved with the Tucson Steampunk Society and doing steampunk things and being part of the community, as it were. If you cannot be there in person, we will be streaming it to YouTube as well. So that's happening on Saturday. That's Saturday. And then Sunday we've got corset class. So
how is corset class going, Madam Askew?
Well, honestly, Grand Arbiter, I feel like the students are absolutely brilliant. Everything seems to be going very well from my end. Everything I'm seeing, I'm so impressed already by the dedication and the energy that people are bringing to class. And I cannot wait to see what they create. So they're starting to post some ideas about their designs, which is very exciting. So, yeah.
If I'm a seamstress who wants to think about building corsets, but I don't have any sewing experience or anything, are you planning on working on any proactive content to make some recommendations for the future? They can be prepared for when they do class in the future?
Oh, yeah. I always share a little bit of tips and tricks along the way. We'll definitely be sharing some lists again for tools and resources. I have a long list of book recommendations for people who want to get into sewing or who want to sort of elevate their sewing from where they are, sort of like level up to the next level. And also we'll be doing a Westkit class in the spring of 2025. So we'll be working towards that as well. Very exciting.
Very exciting. So we'll definitely continue bringing this up as we move forward.
Yes. So that's going on my end. Grand Arbiter, what have you got going on right now?
Well, I have some dramatic tea. If we want to hear about some drama, drama of the etherweb.
Yes.
Okay, so I've been spending almost all week since Monday just consuming the worst takes and poison possible.
Oh.
Yes. So on Monday, the rules committee for Commander, the Magic the Gathering format, banned a bunch of cards worth a lot of money to a lot of people. But arguably, most people are of the agreement that banning those cards is better for the experience. But the ban is shaking up everybody's business. Lots of people have bad takes, and it's just a lot of bad opinions all around. And so it's a lot of that drama. I'm really hoping it dies down by October when I go to my convention.
That's right.
Eternal.
You're going to the Magic the Gathering convention in October, Grand Arbiter.
No one can escape the gathering. The Magic the Gathering horror themed convention this year. Because of the horror set Duskmourn.
And when and where is this happening, Grand Arbiter?
It's going to be the third weekend of August.
Of October?
October, not August. That's a different day of the month. Starting on the 25th, going to the 28th.
Oh, very exciting. And it's in Las Vegas?
It is in Las Vegas. Las Vegas.
Is it possible for people to still attend to get tickets if they wanted to?
I think there's some. I think it's the big fancy boy tickets are already gone because I had to get mine months ago. But I believe there are still tickets if you're like really interested. But only go if you're really interested in the Magic Gathering. Don't torture yourself if you're not interested in that.
Well, this is definitely for Magic players, and I look forward to hearing about your experience, and perhaps we can prevail upon you to write a review of the event. And Tracy says there's another name for Magic. Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of things that it could be called. Cardboard crack is a pretty particularly common nomenclature. I get very little from hardlining packs. I don't enjoy opening packs anymore.
Oh.
So I've that's my one strength, is that I generally don't buy myself packs. I have to know what I'm purchasing.
All right. Well,
I don't like a mystery. I like a man who's really upfront and direct.
I see. So if you had some advice for someone who wished to get into Magic, they'd never played before,
I would say play Arena, the online video game version. It's free. It gives you all the rules for the baseline. It does a lot of the more like finicky rules. It just streamlines them, so it's very easy. Compared to the paper rules, which I was training to be a judge for a long time. So I know the rules in a way that is unhealthy. It is the most complicated board game, probably one of the more complicated board games in the world. So yes, and the hotel. I'm at the Renaissance across the street from the convention center. All of my people, I've never been to this convention before, but all of the people who've been all say don't stay on the Strip. It's a mistake.
Now,
I will be at the dance party that's going to be there, which is called the Halloween Haunt.
Ooh. Now, Grand Arbiter, I believe that the convention itself is happening in the convention center, right?
Correct. I just have to hop across the street and go to where I want to go.
That's
so
nice.
The Halloween Haunt is like a rave experience, like a loud music experience. Reminds me, I need to get earplugs as a reminder.
I will remind you.
And it's going to be at the Mandalay, the House of Blues.
The House of Blues. Fun. How exciting!
And it's going to have some popular electronica musics, as it were. Oh. So I will be very much an old on this there, but it's coming up. It's only in, oh my God, it's only in 3 weeks. That is shocking. I better.
You will have a wonderful time, and yes, Ricky, it sounds fun in my opinion as well. And I think we shall have to ask the Grand Arbiter to write a review of this convention when he gets back. For those,
maybe I'll do a video review. So you don't have to
love
watch
a video
anything.
review.
It's me talking for 30 minutes to an hour about my experience.
Yes, that would be delightful, Grand Arbiter. I love that. Things to look forward to potentially, and if you do a video review, we'll probably make that available first to our Patreon community. So this is my reminder. Patreon makes all of this possible, and if you are able, please consider becoming a cheeky strumpet and joining us on Patreon. Yes, Patreon.
Very little, and we're going to be going through a weirdness as Patreon goes through another weirdness, because instead of getting all of our payments in one lump sum, we'll be getting them in little tiny installments starting in November. So it's important to just ensure that you have some, so Madame Askew can just ride those little niblets as long as we can to turn all of those little treasures into one scone. We're really just collecting the crumbs to make one scone.
That's correct. So, but those are things we'll talk about more in the future. And for now, in good news, the Grand Arbiter is going on a grand adventure. Arbiter will also be back next week for Friday tea. Of course.
We'll be here. I'll be here until we'll be here for the next 2 weeks. So I'll be here for the 4th and the 11th and the 18th.
Excellent.
I'll be here for at least 3 more weeks.
Yeah, good. And Scone Mistress, the main thing you need to do is make certain that you are not subscribing to Patreon through the Apple app, the Apple Store app. If you are an Apple user, we highly recommend you make certain that your subscription happens through the website and not through the app, because not only will it adjust how your payment arrives, but there will be a 30% upcharge from Apple to you. It's like a service fee. Isn't that fun? I love it. It makes me so happy and delighted. So main thing is, if you're an Apple user, make certain you're not using the Apple app if you don't want to be charged.
You can use the app, but not to sign up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So make certain, go in, check that, and check it for all of the Patreons you
and check if you want to check if you want to upgrade. Not you specifically, but if one might want to up their level, because all of this is only possible through the magic of money.
Well, and
the magic all along was cash.
Patreon is what makes it possible for us to have our Friday tea, to do the Sip the Tea, to do classes, to have any of our virtual content, and to a large degree for our ability to go to events and host panels and be part of the in-person magic at these events. And without our Patreon community, we would not be able to do 90% of what we're doing. So thank you, Patreon, for being such stalwart denizens of our community. Yeah. So, so anyway, on to more fun topics.
Well, it's time for the Patrons Corner, the thing that has been made possible through, and some of those cards would be worth more now, but they are and should not be treated as an investment, because at any time they could get banned and then their value becomes very, very, very small. I think it's an interesting thing because the secondary market is so necessary for the games to propagate themselves and continue to be popular, but it also means that things are very expensive. I understand that Magic is not for everyone, and I am not interested in selling anyone on Magic. We are just letting you know where I'll be. Mostly, I would tell you, only do Magic if you really, really want to, and if you're very, very, very interested in fussy games.
Oh, not for me. Not for me.
No, it's too fussy. It's too fussy for Madame Askew.
Yeah. So, speaking of fun activities, though, and games, this week on our Patrons Corner poll on Patreon, poll we host every week because Patreon helps us, our community helps us pick our topic, our special topic for Friday Tea each week. And I say every week, I mean more or less. Sometimes we're out of town. Sometimes we have a special guest. There are occasional...
And next week, we have made an executive decision.
I'm going to tell you about it. But this week's theme, we're very excited about it. You are going to help us figure out whether or not the Grand Arbiter and I would survive in certain spooky scenarios.
We call them supernatural or horror encounters.
Yes.
And Madam, switch to your dark screen.
I will. One moment. I'm reading. It's Paranormal Perseverance is the game, as it were. But next week, we are going to share with you the runner-up topic from this week. And it's
going to be exciting, but we'll talk about it then. So next week, there won't be a quiz. We'll just be letting you know what is happening, and maybe we'll give you a poll on something a little different.
All right,
so I will pose the first horrible scenario to you.
Oh,
Madam Askew, you know you're being hunted, but not by people,
Oh,
but by living scones with nasty teeth.
living scones
Yes,
with teeth.
they're triangles that bite like this.
Oh, they're triangle scones. They're
They're
not
like
even
mimics. They're triangle scones that are like, because scones come in triangles.
all rounds.
I mean, they're oblongy triangles, but they're often triangle shaped.
Sure. I mean, it depends. Anyway, we're not going to argue about scones. I'm being chased by scones with teeth, and they're
Yes.
triangle-shaped scones, so
It's
they're
like-
more vicious.
That's true. And they're like scone mimics. So how are you going to escape the scone mimics, or are you going to escape the scone mimics?
So, my question for you is, am I in a house with a kitchen?
Yes.
Is it a Victorian house?
You have gone into the estate of your great aunt Gertrude
Oh.
in an attempt to claim her inheritance.
Oh.
There, you have actually found you found that everything was quite clean, but that someone had left out an entire tea tray, and in that time, the tea tray had become frustrated with not being eaten to the point that it became the scones became sentient and wanted revenge.
Oh, my goodness. These scones
They
are
have motivation.
right. So, of course, the tea tray was left a little bit pilfered, not finished. The cream and the jam is probably no longer safe. So, I am going.
It's also like dried and caked in there. It's
So I'm going to.
no one cleaned up after she passed. They just left the sitting room as is.
Oh no!
Filling the scones with hate and distrust.
Oh
and
yeah. Oh my goodness. Right. So I am going to first. I am going to back away from the scones. Never turn your back on vengeful vampire face scones. They are so enraged. If you turn your back, they will assume that you are prey and they will go for you. So I'm going to back away from the scone. And then I'm going to cunningly attempt to keep my eye on the scone at all time and bustle my way backwards down the hallway from the salon, the tea parlor, towards the kitchen in hopes that I can find a butter knife and a spoon. Because obviously what I need to do is...
You've encountered your first problem.
Oh, no.
The kitchen is slightly elevated and there's 2 steps to get into the kitchen.
Oh no, the steps might take me out. I really need to roll for initiative. So I'm going, at this point, the scone is following me, right? The lemon vampire scones are following me.
They are following you. They are a little bit slow because they sort of scoot along the ground,
right,
on their bottoms.
Have I passed any furniture? Was there like an occasional table or anything in this hallway as I'm backing up?
Hallway. The family really did. They cleaned out everywhere. Oh gosh, am I still there? Oh, there we go.
Yes. This is perfect. It's the 20th. It's great.
So as you make your way down the hallway, you don't see anything particularly useful to you.
Is there anything on the walls?
All the paintings, all the things of value have been stripped from the house after her death. The only room that was left alone was the sitting room where she died. And because people were superstitious, they just left everything in there, including the scones. That's why they're still there.
All right. I have no choice. I rip the hat off my coiffure. I pull it off. hat pins and everything. Just pull it off. I do keep the long, pointy hat pin. I'm not a fool, but all of the little pins that you use. Anyway, I put it off. I'm going to hurl it at the scone in hopes that it will, at very minimum, be an obstacle, but hopefully it will fall on the scone.
The hat or the hat pins that you pulled out?
The hat with the hat pins in it.
Oh, okay.
So like a porcupine hat right now.
Okay. It lands on the scone, trapping it in the hat, and it sort of moves around like a stuck Roomba.
All right, good. It is.
There are still many scones coming towards you.
All right, but I've distracted it briefly. I'm going to turn and dash up the 2 stairs. Actually, I'm going to sort of limp up the 2 stairs. I grab my skirts in hopes that I will not trip on the way up the stairs to the door.
Fortunately for you, the 2 stairs did have a railing, so you were able to pull yourself up the 2 stairs and get into the kitchen. However, the kitchen doesn't have a door, so you can't close it to escape.
Okay. Do I find in the kitchen, can I find any cutlery? Are there any butter knives?
In the drying rack, you see 2 clean utensils.
Okay.
It's a grapefruit spoon and a shrimp fork.
All right. I grab them. I'm prepared. I have some implements to fend off these scones, but I really need to find a jam pot. I must make my way to the dry goods, to the pantry area of the kitchen.
The pantry is close. You can reach it without any difficulty.
All right. I go to the pantry. Is there a door on the pantry?
Let's just assume you open it just fine.
All right. And we've got some questions. There are recommendations. A rolling pin. Is there a cutting board? We need to know if these things are there. As I am looking through this pantry, looking for a jam pot or a jar of ancient double cream.
So you're in the dry goods. You don't see that there's none of the baking supplies got left in the house, or at least none that you can see.
But these are condiments.
No, I know. I'm talking about the rolling pin and the cutting board.
All right. Oh, okay, great. Okay.
But you do see that there is a stash in the back. Great Mama Jams. It's the Great Mama Jammas. Most prized aged jelly.
Oh, all right.
It's apricot flavored.
Apricot. All right. I grab it. I grab the jelly, and we've got again. Is there anything poisonous like Lipton tea?
You see a tin, but it's just the dregs. It's been fully emptied out. Apparently, Aunt Gertrude's final wish was that she be bathed in her finest teas before passing on the river Styx.
I see. I am learning scones are extremely vulnerable to blunt force trauma, however, and there have been some recommendations to check under the counter. Some kitchens have a built-in space. Excellent. Also, there may be a dome for keeping dishes warm in one of the cupboards. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sidle back out of the pantry. I guess I could have barricaded myself into the pantry and hoped that these scones would destroy themselves, hurling themselves against the door. But I feel that my best course of action is to destroy the scones. So I open the jam jar. I've got my spoon and my shrimp fork. I stick them into my hair.
Okay.
So that I have them at the ready. I'm going to open the jam jar.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take the jam contents in here, and I'm going to hurl them at the scones because
Okay.
this may make them
The
stick.
scones are very slow. All of them are hit except for one. Unfortunately, one of the scones is protected by your hat.
By my hat, but it's still sort of like a little confused in the hat, right?
I mean, it's sensed the death of its friends and is filled with righteous glutinous fury.
All right, so
and flight.
So now I need to know. I'm going back into the kitchen. I'm hoping not to slip on this pool of jam that I've thrown on the floor. So I'm going to have to pick up my skirts and move cautiously around the hat-wearing scone that's still coming for me with a vengeance.
It's in the air now. It jumps it through the fury of its dead friends. It has gained the power of flight through its glutinous rage.
It's flying vampire lemon scone in my hat.
They're black currant lemon scones, just so we're clear.
Black currant.
Like they're black hearts, it's black currant.
All right. Well, now I pull forth the spoon and the grapefruit spoon and the shrimp fork. Grapefruit spoons are very sharp, very long. Shrimp forks may be tiny, but they are also sharp. And I begin to fence with the hat, and I'm trying to stab through the buckram. I'm ready to sacrifice my hat. I love this hat, but I am looking to stab through this hat to at least wound that scone a little bit so that I can go looking for a rolling pin or a lid or something.
The hat and discombobulate the scone with a pierced shrimp fork. The shrimp fork has disoriented it, and it is flittering around, sort of like a bird that's trapped in your house and trying to get out.
All right. Okay.
It is lunging at your face. The pins of your hat scrape past your face as it misses you closely, giving you some nice battle scars.
Oh dear! I bat it away, and I lunge for the cabinets near the stove. I'm looking for a cast iron pan, or a lid, or a ladle, or a rolling pin. Anything that's bludgeoning.
So you're not able to find any of those items. However, you are able to find a very traditional, very ornate, and very heavy bunt pan.
I find a bunt pan. Listen, this is something no one knows about me, but I love a bunt, and bunts love me. We have a special bond. I am empowered by this bunt pan. I pick it up, and I have a magical madam transformation. And I turn into Super Bunt, and I come for this wretched scone with the bunt pan, and I'm whacking at it with the bunt pan.
You have avoided an attack most foul, and they have been thoroughly damaged. None of them are fully destroyed, as an unconsumed scone is eternal. The dunes wait for you cannot kill the dune, but they're distracted enough that you can escape the house and survive with only the loss of one of your favorite hats.
Yeah,
it's really wrecked. It's absolutely destroyed.
Of course, once I leave this cursed.
Also, the power of legal entities have bound that specific scone can never attack you again, because it was beat with a bunt pan, and the trademark is still in place.
Yes. So
I don't know if you know this, but the Bunt Corporation that like runs Bunt pans, they have a trademark on the term Bunt pan.
I had no idea. I
It's
did not know that.
wild. So they own the trademark for that. So you can't call products that because that term is trademarked.
Things we have learned today. So we'll go back to the power of the Bunkt compels me, or the Bunt.
And you escape the house. You escape the house, get your grand fortune, and burn that house to the ground.
Well, honestly, yes. I douse it in Lipton and then I set it on fire. It's the only thing to be done.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Clearly, we need to put the grand.
We're probably only going to get to do 2.
Yeah, but honestly, I love the assistance from everyone because you all gave me wonderful suggestions for defeating this vampiric scon that was coming for me. And now we must take the Grand Arbiter to the most nightmaric space of all. Grand Arbiter, you receive a telegram just as the sun is setting, and it is from your dear lost chum you had not seen. He disappeared in the darkest reaches of Manhattan on a shopping adventure.
Oh
you
my
thought
gosh,
you
I
would
have to go to New York? Lord.
Yeah, you lost him in New York when he was shopping, and he's told you that he's returned to Cascadia, but he's in peril. He's in a dire circumstance, and you are the only one who can save him. He needs you to come to him to save him from his curse. And the telegram leads you to a haberdashery shop at the end of a dark and secluded alley that has one entrance, and it's a dead end. The haberdashery shop is at the end of this alley, and it has.
I love how there's the concept of an alley that just ends in a haberdashery shop. That like it's just like a street that ends at a business. Really not ideal real estate options for a retail establishment, but I think that should probably get taken down and to build some condominiums. Probably that's better for that kind of location, but I digress.
This is a tiny little shop at the bottom of an old, forgotten Victorian building, and it looks like they're tiny apartments, little flats above, but there's this weird little haberdashery shop at the bottom, and it is.
Okay, so clearly my chum is trapped in this magical, evil haberdashery shop. It's clearly evil.
Yes. It emanates.
How hot is my chum? Is he pretty handsome?
Listen, I didn't
he better be pretty handsome because I'm not going to put that much effort in for someone who is like.
He's Chris Evans' lost twin.
Oh, okay. So he's very handsome and built like a triangle.
Yes.
They're probably trying to use him as a measuring device or as like a straight edge for something. So we'll go and save him. Let's go and make some bad decisions. I enter the haberdashery.
As you enter the haberdashery, the door creaks ominously. Clearly, it needs some oil in the hinges. It's been a while. You can see the dust motes in the dim light. And if you are looking closely, those light bulbs are ancient indeed. The fact that they are still illuminating this space is remarkable. But the first thing you are confronted by is a table, a tiered table, full of shoes that are tall boots with laces. And the laces have been strung across to form a net, preventing you from proceeding past this table of shoes.
I like
into
how
the
mine
rest
is
of
more
the
an
floor.
escape room, and yours is more like a combat room. It's very interesting. Okay. Well, I don't go anywhere without I. It's a haberdashery. There's got to be scissors somewhere.
Yes, but you can't get to the scissors. You currently cannot get past this table that has shoelaces tied together cunningly, forming a web in front of you that you have to find a way through, around, or under. It's like a little web in front of the entryway.
Are they tied in such a way that I couldn't tie one and then another and it just falls apart?
I don't know, Grand Arbiter.
Okay,
Do you
I don't
feel
know.
that you are prepared to face the terror of shoelaces tied into cunning knots?
I like how mine was like very clear and not like there's no question what's happening. There's like clearly scones. They're clearly trying to murder you. Mine's like a vague problem that is like a psychoanalysis of Grand Arbiter doesn't like knots.
Listen, it is a haunted, cursed haberdashery shop.
I think it's very funny that you're basically giving me like a psychoanalysis reading to represent all these problems. Okay, I attempt to untie the knots.
Yes.
They are my problem is not tying knots, not untying them. So I can untie knots all day long.
As you untie these knots bit by bit, making your way past the first obstacle thrown against you at this clearly sentient, cursed haberdashery shop, you spy in this corner of your eye what appears to be an entire wall of taxidermied cats who are dressed like little gentlemen.
Oh, I just have to greet each one and say their name properly. So I review each one's label because if it's a true excellent haberdashery, it will have the name of each cat that has deceased on the label. And then I bow gracefully to each of them and say, "Good evening, Mr. Cuddles. Thank you so much for letting me stop by, Madame Fishy Pants."
As you are greeting these taxidermied cats by their names, their proper names, as on the labels, each one bows in return and drops a key in front of it.
All of them. How many keys do I get?
7 keys, Grand.
7 keys. I just think it's very funny that mine was like all action all the time, and mine's like, can you, using your limited imaginational skills, imagine a haberdashery and solve these puzzles with no hints?
Listen, I like gothic horror, and so I'm just coming from that place of gothic horror. Also, we are being helped by our wonderful...
What do I know about this cursed haberdashery shop? Is there any newspaper clippings talking about the sudden disappearance of this haberdashery shop or its owner?
What excellent questions. As you gather up these keys, you disturb the fine layer of dust along the cabinet. And, that's right. Thank you. Thank you, Scone Mistress. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm just, like Lord Asplund, I have limited imaginational capacity. So
visual imagination.
Yeah, my visual imagination is less acute.
All right,
but I'm solving it just so far. I guessed wildly that bowing to the cats and politely saying their name is the right way to do it. In general, my sense of evil buildings is be respectful of the evil building.
It's a good choice.
Speaking of which, not only did I untie all the laces, I delicately unlaced all the boots and then put them in the appropriate order with all of the laces laid out flat.
Oh, that was very thoughtful of you, Grand Arbiter.
You don't do rude things in an evil house. That's a sentient building should not be effed
Yeah.
with.
So, multiple things occur in this moment as you are picking up the keys. You brush the fine dust off the top of the glass case cabinet that was in front of our taxidermied cats. At the same moment you do this, you hear the door through which you came initially slam closed, and you hear a series of locks engaging behind you. So there's no escape behind you. You are now trapped inside the
I have
haunted.
keys, though. I have 7 keys. Couldn't
You
they
do
go to
have-
the door?
I don't know. We don't know. We'll find out, Grand Arbiter,
Okay, well,
as we
find
proceed.
out quickly. Okay.
So you brush the dust off as you are collecting the keys, and inside you notice that there is a scrapbook that has a number of clippings and pictures in it, including a picture of your friend.
Oh, okay. So I quickly breeze through what are the peaks and valleys of the history of this haberdashery.
So you quickly discover that more than 100 years ago, this haberdashery was actually in Paris. It appears to travel from place to place at whim. And at the time, it was a place of happiness and joy, visited by many dapper beings of the green carnation persuasion. And they would host evening salons in this place. But on a dark night, during one of these dinner parties within the haberdashery's walls, something horrible happened, and all of the green carnation holders disappeared. And when the inspectors came to discover what had occurred within the haberdashery, they discovered moaning and a pool of blood, and then the haberdashery teleported itself across the globe, taking the inspector with it and trapping him within. You find notes from him detailing his experiences as he tries to escape the haberdashery unsuccessfully. And behind the cabinet, you find his desiccated skeleton still in his inspector's uniform.
Okay. Well, cool. I guess I'm going to look for my friend. So I will continue my journey deeper into the haberdashery.
All right. Next to the
Quickly. I will quickly do that as it is 7:25.
As you come to the end of the counter, you see a small doorway with a lock in it that clearly leads further into the haberdashery, perhaps into the stockroom. And through the door, you hear a sort of soft thud and moaning coming through the door.
Well, first I knock politely and ask if I can come in.
You hear a spectral voice that is speaking over the moans. Under the spectral voice, you hear something faint that sounds like it might be your friend begging you to come in. But the spectral voice is louder, and it says, "If you come in, you must return to me what I have missed for all of these decades. You must bring forth to me the green carnation."
Okay. Fortunately, as a member of the society, I have one in my hidden pocket at all times. I'm a member of the Green Carnation Society. Why would I not have one with me? I ask you that.
That is an excellent question. I don't know why you would travel anywhere without a green carnation. As a member of the Green Carnation Society, I think this is one of the preeminent rules of participation. You must always have a green carnation on hand.
Okay, so I attempt to open the door I assume it's locked, and then I look to see which key might match.
All of the keys are skeleton keys, and each is a slightly different configuration. Some are more ornate than others. Some are quite simple. They range in sizes. So you are looking at the door. This is the door heading into the stock room. It has a somewhat, decorative handle, but the plate underneath in which the key goes in is really scratched up from a lot of use. It's not particularly polished. It looks like it's been really used a lot in a
I
utilitarian
look for a
fashion.
key that matches the lock's amount of use.
Are you going to try the key?
Yeah.
All right, try the key.
Jesus.
At first, is very stiff. It's almost as though the gears are too aged and don't wish to turn anymore.
I whisper sweet nothings to them to loosen them up a little.
As you are whispering poetry to the keyhole.
It's a magic thinking house. I've got to do something.
Yeah, no, listen, that's a good choice. As you are whispering poetry to this keyhole, you feel it loosen up, almost as though it's relaxing. And you also feel a shudder pass through the air of the haberdashery shop, as though some portion of the dread is easing. It seems like it's a little bit happier space. And the door opens.
Okay, I enter the room.
Sadly, as you open the door, you discover that the room, the room of all the supplies and things is actually down a flight of dark stairs. You are going to have to face a staircase in a haunted building. Grand Arbiter, how do you approach this most dread of obstacles in any horror scenario? The staircase.
One staircase at a time, gingerly and carefully. Apologizing every time it makes too much of a creak.
Oh, and as you are making your way slowly down these stairs, apologizing when a staircase creaks, do you say anything to this haunted, cursed haberdashery shop? Do you try and engage in any way with the spirit of the shop?
I greet the shop as a member of the society, and I understand that it is very lonely.
Mm-hmm.
As it's clear that its true use is to bring dandy to the world, and as dandiness fell out of disarray at the birth of the three-piece suit, it clearly struck down in rage around the lack of cravats and other forms of neckwear beyond the straight tie.
As you are whispering, sweet nothings to the shop and validating its feelings and experience of the sartorial calamities it faced, a wall of pinstripe wool falls in front of you as though it wishes to tangle you up in its terrible, musty folds.
Okay. I guess I try to dig through it, like make a little wool tunnel.
Ooh, a wool tunnel. Right. It's sort of trying to encase your body and force you into a pinstripe suit at this point.
Oh, no. My beautiful silk garments are too sturdy because they've been made by Madame Askew. So they're so strong that they actually reject all other they reject all other fibers, obviously.
I see. All right. So you're able to slip through the rough embrace of this wool suit. You just sort of slither through it like a snake.
Yes, while apologizing.
Apologizing. You You
Ooh, I'm so
succeed.
sorry. This is a little inappropriate. That's no. Consent is required to take my clothes off. Thank you. I would like to get through here. Apologies. Oops. Oh, excusez-moi.
Yeah. So the musty wall falls away from you, and you see that the lights are slightly brighter now in the basement supply room, and in the corner you find that your friend has been lashed to the wall with a series of belts, cravats, pocket squares, and other haberdashery accoutrements that are sort of lashing him to a wall of collars and studs and top hats.
Okay. I am going to make an educated guess.
All right.
I believe the haberdashery house is deeply lonely because it had always watched other people dance and make merry. But it never got to.
Oh.
And it's deeply lonely and is trying to keep my friend forever.
Yes.
And so I am going to tell the haberdashery house that if it gives my friend up, I will dance with it a very lovely Victorian dance. And then I'll even lead. And once I'm done, I'll ensure that Mad Muskew comes to visit and ensures that it gets cleaned up with her team of elves, and that people come and dance with the fabrics as much as possible.
Suddenly, your friend slumps to the floor, released from his bondage against the wall.
Because clearly, this is what happened. Nothing happened to. What happened was the haberdashery was a secret hideout for the Green Carnation Society.
Yes.
And what happened was that there was a raid, and a lovely, handsome gentleman was struck by a police officer and murdered. His murder hidden by the police in the haberdashery, and he became the haberdashery. And now his deep loneliness has made everything suck real bad.
Yes. In fact, as you release your friend, Chris Evans's secret identical twin.
Let's call him. It's Chris Evans, but it's like with one. It's RIS. There's no H. It's no H, Chris.
It's no H, Chris. Slumps to the floor. He groans in gratitude. He canoodles your foot a little bit. He's so delighted. There may be some sobbing. And from one of the shelves behind him drops a diary from the haberdashery. This is it. Chris Evans.
It's actually Chris Kevins.
Chris Kevins. So Chris Kevins is weeping into your boot, and behind him is the diary from the young gentleman who was one of the clerks at the haberdashery and who was the first to fall in this terrible raid, and details his experiences. And the haberdashery has continued to write stories, probably in the blood of people who haven't been able to figure their way out of the haberdashery. And so
I claim that kidnapping is quite unbecoming of someone so dapper.
Yeah.
And that while all cops are bastards, we don't need to trap our loved ones in a house. And in general, it's better if they're free to roam and eat and not starve to death is ideal. And that I know a really, really handsome donut shop that's in the neighborhood that is also possessed by a dead gay.
They can have that. It feels very Tingle-esque at this point. You succeed in mollifying.
It's sort of a Tingle meets Discworld type situation.
The good news is, as you go upstairs, leading your friend out of the supply room, up into the main level of the haberdashery, you notice that the door leading up to the flats is now open, and flats are for rent, and it's rent controls now, and they are a reasonable rate in a city with a shortage of reasonable rentable spaces. This haberdashery is clearly very happy, very content, and delighted to be at the end of the alley where all the queers can find it in the future. And it is, in fact, called the Green Carnation.
Oh, that's so nice. I ensure that the overstuffed donut knows about that the Green Carnation is looking for a date. There's also a nice gay bar called Double Fisting, which is nearby.
The Green Carnation has some options.
Fun fact, gay people tend to possess buildings really aggressively. Such a weird fun fact.
So this did not at all go as we intended, but we promised more unhinged action tonight. And
it was gentrifying. It's not gentrifying. It's spookifying.
It is spookifying. We're spookifying
the neighborhood, ensuring that there's lots of cute shops and great housing opportunities that are easy access for artists as well as low-income families.
That's right. That's the vibe. So, was it a horror tale or was it a redemption arc? You can never tell with a haunted building, but this was very haunted space and it needed a lot of gentle handling.
I like that our stories are very different interpretations of the prompt, like wildly. Like yours is, how does Madame Askew survive an attack by vampire murder scones? And mine is, solve the mystery of a very spooky haberdashery.
Yes. Well, yes. I was going to put you through more paces, but we sped it up. We moved.
There's limited time.
Yeah. So, well, this was very fun, Grand Arbiter, and I hope that you all enjoyed our attempts to murder each other in spooky spaces and spooky scenarios. Grand Arbiter, next week we are going to experience the death of a mysterious Victorian.
We're going to be playing a video game next week. It's going to be great. We'll come up with a fun poll that we'll have a secondary poll. It won't be for the Patreon topic. It'll be about something else. So, but we will have a poll. We will figure out what that is probably on Tuesday. But we love you very much, and we will see you soon.
Thank you all for being here and joining us for this edition of our spooky season Friday tease.
And remember, Chris Kevins is useless.
Chris Kevins is useless. He's very pretty, though, and he may get a job at this haberdashery because he loves to shop and he can be the official buyer.
I don't think I'd want to hang out where I was kidnapped, but maybe Chris Kevins is different.
Maybe he's formed a special bond with the haberdashery.
We'll see.
Also, we've got to set it up for a sequel. Maybe he's possessed now. We don't know. We didn't even check in with Chris. He just wept into your boot, and then you're like, that's nice. Time to go. So,
That's true. That's how you should leave a haunted house. Glad that I was able to rescue you. Time to leave.
Yeah, right. And Chris Kevins might become the best hat salesman ever. You just don't know. Maybe he's got a hidden depths and a gift. And thank you, dear Anne. Thank you, everyone who tuned in tonight and joined us on YouTube, Twitch, or on the Book of Faces. We are so happy to have you here with us. I hope you enjoyed our really ridiculous, spooky stories tonight. Our little
we'll call them Halloween-inspired adventure experiences.
Yes, absolutely. That was delightful. It was a gay time for all, and we will be back next week with Friday Tea. And tomorrow, please join me for our wonderful sympathy with my delightful guests, Maz Maddox and Kurt Graves. They are fantastic. You do not have to be familiar with their work yet to enjoy speaking with them, but you may be inspired to check out their work afterwards. So come join us for that. It will be live in all of the places you've come to expect to see us live. And in the meantime, my darlings, please remember to go out into the world and treasure yourselves as we treasure you, because you are irreplaceable.
And be kind to both buildings and old aunts, and ensure that you clean up your scones and ensure that justice is served against hate crimes by the police.
All of that and more. So please take very good care of yourselves, your community, each other. Get a good drink of water, get some vitamins and minerals, wash your hands, and show up for yourself. We will see you tomorrow and Friday. And in the meantime, have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody. And thank you, Cindy. Thank you. They're my favorite too. Good night, everyone. Cheers.